Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today we're going to be going over an 8-man defense and talking about how to possibly expand it into a 10-team defense. This is Teletraan's defense, and he's got some big numbers. But we're going to see how we can make those into bigger defense, being with yesterday's patch dropping. And we now have 10 defensive slots. We also have the War Ready buff, meaning you have to have ISO level 4 on your defensive tunes and the offensive tunes, depending on which rooms are still in play. We get those 20% stat boosts and stuff like that. So let's just jump right into this one. And we grade on 5 different criteria: who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. Also, we are looking at the minimum expense build and the ultimate build for, people who want to just, wail out on these teams. All right, team number 1. This is an Emurator hybrid team with Doc Ock and Minerva. This is pretty good. I like what we're doing here. Of course, we need to bring up Strife to ISO level 4 with his fortifier. I would also like to see a placement change. I think we should go Strife, Doc Ock, and then Emma. That way, Emma and Strife are getting the deflects. That's going to give you an extra resistance check against some of those ability blocks and disrupts and things like that are coming in here. They're probably still going to land with the teams that are being used against this, but every little bit helps. I don't think Sinister needs to worry. I mean, Sinister can spread those deflects, but oh man, that might actually even be a better idea in the long run, huh? Gosh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to put some thought into that. This might actually be the way to go. I like having the deflects over Strife though too, so gosh, that's a tough one. I'm not sure, but definitely we need to get this ISO score up to 4 so he gets the bonuses on the War Ready stuff. Also, we might want to be going with a cheaper version of this, going back to the old school Emmarauders team. It's still going to require something to come into it, and then we can be using Doc Ock and Minerva on team number 9 or 10 or something like that. So keep that in mind as we try and stretch this out from 8 to 10. I like this team though. I think it's really good. I'm not certain of the placement now that I think about this. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the A-. The only thing that has to change is we got to bring up this ISO level on Strife. Team number 2, Doom Brotherhood. This is a pretty common team. We see this a lot at the high end. It's a challenging team. It just requires a specific counter, but it is a little bit tricky to pull off. I also like, as far as Doom versions go, I like having the Uncanny X-Men with Doom. That one I like a little bit better. I'm actually starting to use that now, and there's a little bit of hybrid version you can do with that too. But this is the Doom Brotherhood version, and I think it's set up just right. You got Raider, Skirmisher, Striker. The only one I want to see changed is I want to see Blob change to a Skirmisher. He retaliates when he's attacked, placing a lot of vulnerables out there. That's going to make Doom do 10% more damage to almost every single character because they're all going to take a turn smacking Blob there. So change that one. You don't want to use Striker. The alternative is Raider because he does area of effect damage like that. So that's the only change there. Bring up the power levels on this team. I'm going to give you a B for it. Otherwise it's doing pretty good. All right. Team number 3 is the Secret Avengers with Kestrel and Fury. Now, let's see, what can we do to improve this team? You've got Skirmisher, Striker on these two. That's correct. You've got Raider on him and Striker on her. That's correct. Healer on her. So ISOs are great. We do need to bring up this ISO over here. Bring that up to level 4 so that she's ready to go. And you're definitely going to want to bring it up for level 4, even for offense, because that's what you need to do with this team. Take them off of defense, use them on offense. Axemen and Symbiotes can still beat this team on a punch across. And even if you scale these guys out of their minds, you can still beat them with either of those teams. They're way better on offense because you can use them for so many different things. You can use them as a cleanup for Heroes for Hire on that second time around. You can use them on Infinity Watch, on a punch across, or even a slight punch down is probably going to be more appropriate. At higher levels, I've seen these guys punch across on Infinity Watch. They're pretty crazy. yeah, there's just, it's a great tool to have in your offensive arsenal. It does better on offense than defense. So we want to remove this team, replace it with something like, you could just use an OG Sinister Six. No Doc Ock on it, just the old school characters. Throw them in there just as a place filler, right? It's not stopping anybody, but you got to throw something in there. And then you could still have your Doc Ock for some of those hybrid offenses or a different defense. Otherwise, this is, as far as a defense goes, this is an A-. You're doing everything right. I like the placement. I like the power levels. I mean, once you get the stars on these other characters, they're going to be doing pretty good. I actually kind of like that you have Fury and Kestrel higher than the rest, because this is a deceiving number. His minions are going to be really thick and hard for those symbiotes to knock in the red and hard for the Axemen to kill. However, Maria Hill's summons are not going to be as tough. They're still going to get knocked in the red, so it's still a bummer there. But this is a deceivingly powerful team. This 575 actually works more like a 625, really. So I like it, but yeah, you're going to want to bring up the power levels as you just get those stars on there. These tunes are great for raids and stuff like that. Take them off of defense, put them on offense. I'm going to give you an A- simply because of this. Actually, I'm going to give you the B. I think using them on defense is a waste. You should be using them on offense. So I'm going to give you the B for that. It's a great defensive team. It just should be used on offense. We got the Mercs over here. Let's see. This is the Korath Ultimus version. This is great for against Skillitary. Korath helps against that X-Force offense, though no one's really going to be coming into this with X-Force at 600k. I'd like to see you gear up these two out here. You've already invested in the centerpiece, and with that kind of investment, you might as well put a little bit more in here because you're going to get so much more value out of them as a defense. This is going to be a very formidable defense. I'd like to see you change at least Riot Guard to a striker so you can get a little bit more value out of your Taskmaster. Placement's pretty good. Yeah. You could change this guy also to a striker, but since you're not healing with Shuri, and I don't recommend the Shuri build at your level, this is the way to go at your level. Go ahead, keep him as a healer. I think that's good. You're going to have to get these guys up to ISO level 4. That's unfortunate because those tunes kind of suck otherwise, but on this team, I mean, like I said, your investment in this 3-piece right here is so much, you might as well take these other two in here and really get the value out of this team. I think you're doing great. I think keep pushing it a little bit. This is a B+ team right here. Team number 5. This is like a Skillitary garbage leftover thing here. Get Captain Marvel off this team. I know she's 7 reds, but you might as well switch her over to healer and make her last a little bit longer. Or just, I don't know. What you really need is to run this Skillitary on offense. It's a great team for offense. It's still got some good value. It does a lot of things. It's powerful. You've got them built up pretty high. Merc Soldier, all he has to do is spawn in for his passive. If he does anything else, it's a win. You might as well change him to a skirmisher so he's putting out an extra vulnerable if he does even take a shot. But all you do, you just want him to spawn in, and that passive is what he's all about. Change Captain Marvel, though. She's no good. Put her on a military team. Let's take her and like Captain America and Winter Soldier, since we have to build up Winter Soldier now, and you could put them on a military team in a defensive slot. It's not going to be anything special, but they'll get some bonuses. And then run this team on offense. So, or I guess I should say take these 4 off of defense and fill it in with military assets. Yeah, I think that's really what you need to do. You got healer on him, striker, raider, and then I'd like to see him as a skirmisher, but you've already invested in him. It doesn't matter. Like I said, he just spawns in. I think we're running her as a skirmisher and Hawkeye as a striker on the wave 1. I think you want her as a skirmisher. I can't remember. I'm not super familiar with the Skillitary build. I haven't built mine, and I'm probably just going to pass on it since I haven't gone to it yet. But somebody will let me know in the comments if she should be striker or skirmisher on this team. I can't remember. This is kind of a waste of resources. I don't like Captain Marvel in here. I think you should be using him on offense, and I think you should throw Captain Marvel on a military team if you're going to use her on defense at all. I think this is a C- to a D+ at best. Team number 6. This is that Inhumans hybrid, which is less and less Inhumans anymore. This is going to be like the BKT joke where we got less and less Inhumans on the Inhumans team anymore. I love Deathpool on this team. I think once people start getting the other new warriors into this, we're going to start seeing some changes. We'll probably end up going back to Crystal or some other defensive build, but for right now, I think this is the way to go. I like your placement. I love the power levels. The ISOs are great, except I think Yo-Yo needs to be a skirmisher rather than a raider, but you can keep her as a raider. You've already invested up there. And then Coulson definitely needs to be a raider. You need to change that before you invest anymore. He should be raider for sure. You have 4 strikers, 1 person putting out vulnerables. Also, you have level 3 blue ISO strikers on these guys. You have no level 3 blue skirmishers. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe Yo-Yo should be a blue level 3 skirmisher. Plus, she's going to get that 50% focus boost, which will make sure that her offense down lands when she applies it to people on their turn. But again, that's kind of your choice. Definitely you need to change him over to a raider to get some more regular vulnerables out on the field. I think you have these guys up because of raids, right? So that's why these guys are so high. Only invest in a skirmisher if you're really serious about this team, and I think we should wait and see where it goes. So probably keep it where it's at, but definitely change Coulson. That's the big change you need to do for this team. I like what I see. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a B for that team. Number 7 is Uncanny with Ghost. This is where I like to see my Doom in place of Ghost. Again, you've got Ghost as a level 3 blue striker and no level 3 blue skirmishers putting out the double vulnerable for her to play off of. I think you should swap Psylocke out for what is going to be Wolverine. His stat boost is really substantial, making him a serious contender for this position again, although she does give the other team some dodge, some sustainability, which helps them stay alive long enough to cover for Doom, so when he pops off. But like with Ghost in here, you know, the sustainability of this team isn't such an issue anymore. It's just a matter of getting Phoenix on the field to do some damage. Ghost is going to do ghosty things, so this is kind of your choice, but I think you should put Doom in here. I think you should put Wolverine right here. And then you're going to have to get Phoenix up to level 4 ISO. I know Dark Phoenix does not get the ISO bonus, so that kind of sucks. However, Dark Phoenix does get her stats, her base stats play off of what regular Phoenix's loading in stats are. So you want to get her those war ready bonuses so that when she goes into Dark Phoenix has that much more of the stat boost in there. Let's see here. You're putting Fortifier on Colossus. Not my favorite, but Mr. Hartgrave is trying to get me to start using Fortifier on Colossus because he thinks Colossus is pretty squishy. He could be right. He could be right. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is kind of a meh team that you're using right now. You might consider, if you're going to keep doing the Doom Brotherhood, you might consider running a full Uncanny X-Men team, just replacing Ghost with Wolverine. Could be something to do until you get that Weapon X team online. So as is, I think this is just a C team. It's not very great. I think you can do a lot better things. And again, we got to be keeping in mind that we're trying to stretch this into more teams. Over here, of course, we have our Heroes for Hire. Now, I really like what you've done with your Heroes for Hire. You have the proper ISOs. You're really close to the right placement. We're hearing that at the high ends, we need to be putting Iron Fist right here in this last slot because we don't want any of these 3 new characters to be taking any kind of splash damage from an adjacent Luke Cage. Of course, we need to get our ISOs up to ISO level 4. That's only as important as your alliance says it is, okay, guys? So if your alliance is like, we don't do war, we're not worried about it, save your resources if you want to. If you're excited about war, if you're go hard for war, if your alliances go hard for war, then you need to get those war ready bonuses up there. That's going to be huge once this thing gets rolling. Also, I'm not sure, but I would bet that when Grand Arena comes in, we're going to see war ready bonuses for Grand Arena too. I don't see why they wouldn't. That's just one more way they can push us to be buying their offers by making things more mandatory or beneficial for us to put that stuff in there. So I would get teams and tunes like these up there and ready to go. As far as Heroes for Hire goes, the sun is setting on this team. right? Weapon X is around the corner. We can look at Omega Red's kit, and if, and this is a big if, his kit plays out the way that it reads, it's going to crush this team. Like, he alone is going to put a big dent in this team. And with the rest of his teammates in there, they're just absolutely going to roll over this team. That trauma feature, keeping them from healing, they'll just be using their charges every turn. You'll basically go in with Weapon X, you'll pick a target, you'll bring them below 50%, and then you'll choose a new target so that every turn they're just losing charges off of that character. And the tricky part is going to be not killing them, because when they die, they revive with full health and just remove a charge, right? So that's going to be the tricky part, is not killing them, because that Weapon X team is so powerful. I like everything you're doing here. The only, what I want to see people doing with Heroes for Hire is bringing them up to about gear tier 12, maybe gear tier 14. 6664 on the abilities. Don't put any T4s in this. It's not really necessary. You could maybe sling a T4 into like Colleen Wing, maybe Misty Knight, maybe Shang-Chi, as those characters do have some potential value outside of this team on Rays. I don't like them for that. I'm not a fan of them as a new player team. I mean, they're city heroes and stuff, but they can be used. I'm just not that excited about them personally. That's just my opinion. That's a very arguable way to go. However, I just think 6664, gear tier 12, get this team up to like somewhere around like 400, right? That's basically going to require your opponent to bring in the Infinity Watch, and that's all you need. You just need them to have to bring in an Infinity Watch or a Weapon X team. After that, it's all up to you. Okay, so that's the 8 teams, and that's where this one ends. What can we do to bring this list up? So we said we could do a standard Uncanny here, maybe take Ghost onto a Pimtech team. It's not crazy, but it's a filler. You can also use AIM as a filler. That sucks too, but whatever. We're just trying to fill some slots. Right over here, we could be bringing up the new Warriors and create a new Warrior hybrid defense. I think that they're actually pretty good on offense also, though, so that's kind of a tough pick. But we could throw Crystal back in here. What I'm talking about is basically stepping down to some of those older metas, less hybrids, more standardized teams, right? Let's see, over here, what we talked about is taking this on to offense, doing a military team with Captain Marvel, or you could go with a Wave 1 Avenger team, do Captain Marvel on some other kind of hybrid. The Merc team is the Merc team. We're not going to get much stretch out of that. This one's going on offense. Not much we can do there. We're kind of going the wrong direction, aren't we? And then over here, we got the Doom Brotherhood. This is a team that's going to stay the way it is. And then you've got this team, which we want to go back to the old standard Emmarauder version using Doc Ock and or Minerva on a separate hybrid. Maybe these two could go in with new Warriors or something like that to create more teams. That's the best I got for you. There are some other teams that we could be throwing in there. You know, if you want to go for like an X-Men, like a astonishing X-Men on defense, you could. I think they're so fantastic on offense, though. I don't like to see that. Some people at the very high end are doing a hybrid of Uncanny and astonishing X-Men. Again, we're combining teams, and we need to be stretching them out to get all 10. So it's kind of a tough thing. But what you want to be thinking of doing is using teams that have some sort of synergy, that require your opponent to bring in some kind of a synergized team to attack with and soaking up as much as possible. They get 2 additional war attacks now to go with your 2 additional defensive teams. So don't just throw in some trash that they can clean up with their trash. Think about what's going to cause them to use up a Zemo, to use up an X Factor, to use up your Shadowlands, to use these teams that are important. Of course, Heroes for Hire is going to be countered by Infinity Watch until Weapon X comes online. So that's just kind of how it is. Don't be using your Infinity Watch on defense yet. We'll wait until we start seeing those Weapon X teams coming out and doing that thing. So this has been Defense Up. There is going to be, this one's going to post today, and I'll probably have another one post tomorrow. I'm going to be spreading these out a little bit. If you like what you saw, please give it a like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. You can catch me live on Twitch Thursdays 9 to noon. We do 2 of these every Thursday. That's my only day on Twitch. I'm just a hobby streamer. Yeah, that's about it for today. Appreciate you guys joining me. Remember, don't just have a good game, be good to yourselves and each other too. Bye.